Yeah, it was really good to see you last night. No, I had a good time. Yeah, we haven't seen each other in ages, so we can get together again next week. Next week? Okay, I'll see you next week. Okay, bye. Sorry, that was just an old friend of mine. Hey everyone, I'm Alex. Thanks for clicking, and welcome to this lesson on next and last versus the next, the last. So this is a very common confusion, a very common grammatical problem that I sometimes hear from people who are learning English, who are at the beginner and intermediate, and sometimes at the advanced level even. But it's okay. You're here to learn. And if you've clicked on this video, like you want to know this stuff. And I'm going to do my best to transmit this information to you. So first, next, last. Now, when you are talking and using next or last with a day of the week, a month, a season, a year, basically, you are referring to the one, which means you are referring to the day, the week, the month, the season, or the year directly after or directly before the current one, okay? So you heard my conversation on the phone. Yeah, it was great to get together, last night. It was great to see you last night, the night before today, last night. And I said, I will see them next week, the week directly after the current week, okay? So, for example, see you next week, the week directly after this week, the current one. I saw him last night. I saw him basically directly before today. Or if it's night now, I saw him last night, the night before this one. Next, did you call her last Friday? She told me you promised her you were going to call her. Did you call her last Friday? The Friday before now, the most recent Friday, okay? Next month will be busy. So if you are, preparing for the holiday season or a specific time of the year where it's going to be very busy for you and your family and your friends, you can say next month, the month directly after this one. So for example, if it's January, next month is February. If it's March, April, yeah, I know my months. March, the next month, next month after March is April. Okay, so I will see you next month. Next month will be busy. I can't wait for next summer. Okay, so if summer just finished and the weather is getting colder, if you are in a country that has more than 2 seasons or 1 season in some cases, please, you can say, I can't wait for next summer. I can't wait. And finally, we're going to travel to Prague next year, the year after this one. So if the year now is 2017, next year is 2018, okay? So we're traveling there next year. So you use next and last with a day of the week, or just the word week, or a month of the year, or a season, or a specific year, when you want to refer to the one directly after or directly before the current one. You got it? Can I move on to the next part? Yeah? Okay, the next part. So the next and the last. So when you are talking about the period of 7, 30, whatever number of days or weeks or months or seasons or years or any other historical periods, whatever, starting at or preceding, which means coming before the moment of speaking, you use the next, the last. Okay, that's a lot of information. So if we just look at some examples, I think it's a lot easier to understand and to see what I mean. So for example, the next 2 weeks will be tough. If you are preparing for exams and you have exams for 2 weeks from now, when you're speaking, the moment of speaking, you're thinking ahead like, oh man, next week and the week after next week. So the next 2 weeks, this period of time will be tough, starting from my moment of speaking. Next, the last month has been amazing. So basically, the 30 days preceding today. So a month, 30 days, or 31 days, or 29 or 28 days, depending on the month and leap years and things like that. You can say, oh my God, the last 30 days, the last month has been amazing. The 30 days preceding now have been amazing. Next, the next year and a half will be really interesting at my company. So if your company, is starting a new type of business plan and they say, okay, we want to get from here to here in the next year and a half, you can say the next year and a half, starting now until a year and a half from now, will be very interesting. So one more time, the next year and a half will be really interesting at my company. Okay, next. The last 2 hours of work have been a nightmare. So we all have those days sometimes when you're at your job and everything is going great. And then there's a period where something goes wrong. And it goes wrong sometimes for a few minutes, sometimes for a few hours, sometimes for the whole day. But in this example, you can say the past 2 hours, the last 2 hours at work have been a nightmare, okay? And finally, the next few minutes of this video are very important. So stay tuned and keep watching, Okay, so the first part of this video, we talked about next, last, the next, the last, in relation to specific days, weeks, months, years, seasons. And the rules that I mentioned, they apply to those days, weeks, months, years, seasons, etc. But there are situations where we can use next and last, specifically the next, the last, not only with what I just mentioned, but also with events or situations, or a special case when we use the word time itself, like the last time, the next time. And we'll get to that a little later. So first, basically what you have to think about when you use the next or the last with an event or a situation is just follow the basic article rules for the. When you're talking about a definite or a specific event or time or situation, or the end of a period of time, for example, like in the first example. So the last week of university was really hectic. The word hectic means incredibly busy. So if you are, talking with your friends and remembering your time in university, you are referring to a specific time, a specific period of time during university, when you were in university. So, oh man, I remember the last week. Which week? The last week of university. That specific, definite final week of university. It was really hectic. Next, the last season of Lost, TV show, was a little messy. Or if you mention, and you know what I'm talking about with Lost, you can say, the last episode of Lost was very controversial. So some fans loved it, some fans hated it, some fans were just about it. They didn't care very much. So we're specifically talking about the last season of Lost. You're following the article rule when you're talking about a definite period or a definite event, a definite situation, or in this case, a definite season. Which season? The last season. Which episode? The last episode, or the next episode, if you want to talk about the next, for example. Or you can say, if you're watching a TV show, you finish one episode and you can't wait for the next episode, right? Okay, I mentioned the word time is a little special, and this is because with the word time, you can use the last or the next, or last or next. So for example, the next time I see you, I'll bring my PlayStation. Or, next time I see you, I'll bring my PlayStation. I'll tell you the next time I see you. I'll tell you next time I see you, okay? So basically, you can follow the rule of either or if you have the word time after next or the next or last or the last, okay? Only with the word time, though. And finally, following these rules, the next Star Wars movie should be good. Now, I don't know when you're watching this video, but there's a very good chance at the time you're watching it, there's a Star Wars movie coming out for the next like 20 years. So I'm sure this is still relevant. Is it the Han Solo movie now? Is it the Yoda movie? Whichever one it is, I hope it's good. Whatever one we're up to at this point in time, whenever you're watching this video. Okay, so guys, I hope that I was able to clear up some of the confusion that some students have with next, last, the next, the last. If you want to test your understanding of everything we discussed today, as always, you can check out the quiz on engvid.com. And there we have a ton of grammar lessons, pronunciation lessons, vocabulary lessons, reading, writing, anything you can think of. It's there. So if you're, someone who's learning English and you want a site that has thousands of videos, engVid is the place to go for you guys. So while you're there, don't forget to subscribe to my personal YouTube channel. And you can also add me on Facebook. You can like my Facebook fan page. And you can also add me on Twitter if you just want to keep up with what I'm doing and posting pictures and random English facts and details. So you can interact with me there or in the comments section below. Or I'm assuming comments will stay below forever. So if they're here, in the comments section here. Or if they're here, in the comments section here. But I think the comments are probably below. Okay, so just comment below. Let me know if you like the video and tell your friends. Until next time, thanks for clicking.